Hey everyone, ever feel like your coding skills could use a level up? Like, you're ready to go from, good to unstoppable coding wizard.
Hmm.
We're diving into the world of side projects today because apparently that's the secret sauce.
Okay.
We've got excerpts from The Power of Side Coding Projects, How to Start and Succeed, and let me tell you, it's jam-packed with advice.
It really is a comprehensive guide, and what's great is there's something in here for everyone, Whether you're just starting out or you've been coding for years or you're somewhere in between, this deep dive is going to be valuable for you.
Okay, so first things first, why should you even care about side projects? I mean, we're all busy people, right?
So true. Time is precious. But that's exactly why this guide caught my eye. It's not just about building random apps in your spare time. It's about strategically using side projects to supercharge your skills, build a portfolio that makes you stand out, and just become this coding problem-solving machine.
You've basically just described every coder's dream, and it's right. But let's break that down a little. You mentioned skill enhancement. What's the real value there?
Think of it this way: side projects are your coding playground, right?
Okay.
Want to master a new language or framework, build something with it. You get to experiment, you make mistakes, and you learn at your own pace.
Mm-hmm.
And, you don't have the pressure of a deadline or a boss breathing down your neck.
Right.
This hands-on experience is invaluable, and it's something that employers, they really look for.
It's like the difference between reading about coding and actually coding, right? You could read all the textbooks in the world, but nothing beats getting your hands dirty and building something real.
Exactly. And speaking of real, let's talk about building your portfolio. Imagine you're a recruiter, right? And you're looking at two resumes. One lists basic skills. The other showcases impressive side projects built with those skills. Which candidate are you more likely to call?
The one with the impressive portfolio, hands down, because it shows you can take an idea from concept to reality.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, this guide, it lays out 5 solid steps to get started. And I love that it emphasizes identifying your goals right off the bat.
It might seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people skip this step and then they lose motivation. So before you even think about coding, ask yourself, what do I want to achieve with this project? Is it learn a specific technology, build something for my portfolio, solve a problem that I'm passionate about?
It's like setting out on a journey, right?
No,
You need to know your destination before you start packing your bags.
Yeah.
And speaking of packing, once you know your why, choosing the right project it's crucial.
Absolutely. And the guide has some great suggestions. You could create a personal website or a browser extension or even a game.
Oh, cool.
But the key is choosing something that genuinely excites you, because trust me, you're going to hit roadblocks.
Right.
You're going to want to quit. Passion for the project is what will keep you going.
It's like that saying, choose a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
Okay, so we've got our why. We've picked an awesome project idea, but how do we avoid getting overwhelmed?
Okay, so that's where setting realistic expectations comes in. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your side project won't be either. The guide really emphasizes starting small. Break down your project into smaller, more manageable tasks.
So instead of trying to build the entire Taj Mahal, you start with one perfectly crafted brick. I like it. It makes the whole process less intimidating.
Exactly. And this is where planning comes into play, right? It doesn't have to be super complex, but even a basic roadmap of your project's features can work wonders.
It's like they say, fail to plan, plan to fail. But even with the best plan, things can get messy, right? That's where I geek out on the guide's next step, choosing your tech stack.
Ah, yes, the tech stack. This is where things get interesting.
Right.
It's like walking into a candy store for techies. You've got your languages, your frameworks, your databases, so many options.
So many delicious options. But seriously, how do you choose the right tools for the job?
Well, it depends on your goals and the project itself. If you're building a web app, you might choose a JavaScript framework like React or Vue.js. If it's a mobile app, you might explore something like React Native or Flutter.
Okay.
The key is to do your research, see what's popular and in demand, and don't be afraid to try something new.
You've got to keep those skills sharp. I always say it's like learning a new programming language is the mental equivalent of doing a CrossFit workout for your brain.
It is.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, the why, the what, and the how of getting started. But this guide doesn't stop there, does it? It dives into some serious strategies for success.
And they're not just your, typical set goals and work hard tips, this guide gets into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to turn your coding dreams into reality.
Yeah. The one that jumps out at me is consistency. I feel like that's the secret sauce to success in so many areas of life, not just coding.
It's so true. Think about it. Even just dedicating like 30 minutes a day to your side project adds up to over 180 hours a year. That's a lot of coding time. And it's not just about the quantity of time, right? It's the consistency that allows you to build momentum and just make steady progress.
Small, consistent efforts. That's the key. No need to pull all-nighters every night.
Exactly. And this kind of ties into another strategy. Embracing the learning process, right? Side projects are all about learning by doing, and that inevitably means encountering challenges.
Oh, yeah. Those hair-pulling, why is this code not working moments.
Exactly. But instead of getting discouraged, this guide encourages you to view those roadblocks as learning opportunities.
It's like leveling up your problem-solving skills with every bug you squash.
Precisely. Each challenge you overcome makes you a stronger, more confident coder. And speaking of confidence, another strategy that stood out to me was using version control, even for personal projects.
I'll admit, I used to think version control was just for big teams and complex projects, but now I can't imagine coding without it.
Right.
It's like having a safety net for your code.
Totally, totally.
You can experiment freely, knowing you can always revert back to a previous version if things go wrong. Plus, a well-maintained Git repository, it looks great on your portfolio.
It does. It does. It's like showing potential employers you're organized, you're detail-oriented, and you understand, like, industry best practices.
Yeah, another strategy that resonated with me was documenting your journey.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in the code itself. But taking the time to, document your process, your thought process, even your struggles, it can be incredibly valuable.
Oh, for sure.
It's like leaving breadcrumbs for your future self.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, sharing your experiences through blog posts or, online tutorials, it can help other coders who are facing similar challenges. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. And speaking of sharing, let's talk about seeking feedback. Getting fresh eyes on your project, whether it's from, friends, colleagues, or online coding communities, can be incredibly insightful.
It's like having a built-in quality assurance team. They can spot bugs you might have missed, suggest improvements you hadn't considered, and just give you that, valuable outside perspective.
Right.
But let's be real, staying motivated throughout a side project, especially, alongside a full-time job, it can be tough.
Motivation is like that friend who promises to show up, but, sometimes flakes on you. You've got to find ways to, keep that momentum going.
So true.
What are some strategies that have worked for you?
Setting small, achievable goals is huge for me.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on the entire mountain, break it down into smaller hills.
Okay.
And then celebrate those small victories along the way.
Yes.
It could be as simple as rewarding yourself with, a coffee break after writing a particularly elegant function or finally squashing that annoying bug.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sometimes a small reward is all it takes to reignite that coding spark.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to switch things up if you're feeling stuck. Go for a walk, listen to some music, work on a different part of the project. Sometimes a change is as good as a rest. It's like hitting the refresh button on your brain. Okay, we've talked about staying motivated, but what about those moments when you, completely lose interest in a project?
It happens.
Right.
Sometimes you start a project with the best intentions, but somewhere along the way, the passion fizzles out, and the guide suggests that it's okay to, to pivot to something that excites you more. There's no point in forcing yourself to work on something you dread.
Life's too short to code projects you don't enjoy, right? It's your free time, after all. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here.
Mm-hmm.
The why, the how, and the strategies for side project success. But coding wouldn't be coding without its fair share of challenges, right?
Oh, absolutely. Coding is full of challenges. It's like a puzzle box that keeps giving you new and exciting puzzles to solve.
And just when you think you've solved it, bam, another puzzle box appears.
Uh-huh, exactly. But the good news is that this guide doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. It outlines 4 common hurdles that we might encounter on our, side project journey.
And these aren't just, beginner problems either. Even seasoned developers, they face these challenges from time to time, right?
Absolutely. It's all part of the coding journey.
All right, so challenge number 1. The age-old struggle of time management. How do you balance a side project with work, family, life, and, everything in between? It's like trying to juggle flaming chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope.
It